Stories of a Death Collector, Episode 9. The Creation of Life on Earth as we know it now. This is why I believe that every word that was written in the Bible in Genesis about the creation is true, scientifically true. Although with God, everything is possible. He is science and everything else. So ladies and gentlemen, let's start with a question. Are you a little confused about creation, the strange timeline, and so on? The beginning of Earth as we know it and how it is described in Genesis in the Bible? Or do you have Charles Darwin's evolution theories somewhere in the back of your mind? The book of many pages he wrote about how life on Earth started millions of years ago as one-cell organisms that later evolved into the life we know here on Earth for the past more than 6,000 years. Evolution is the biggest card people play when they want to prove that the creation as described in the Bible is a fable, not science. Yet there is more scientific evidence of God's orderly creation of specific living species than there is of spontaneous evolution over zillions of years. Evolution would have been interrupted from times to times when life on Earth got destroyed by water, by ice, or by fire. Whatever, God himself promises that he won't destroy Earth with water again. This time it's going to be fire, and then there will be only cockroaches left. Nuclear war probably. But today we do the beginning, not the end, as no one knows when that will be. So let's rather go back. You may get one or two skulls, bone fragments, fossils from millions of years ago. But they look different from what humans look today because those were different species. We are not interconnected and they got extinct or eaten or frozen. They died out. Except for some reptiles and one-cell organisms. But 6,000 years are too short to change from an amoeba to a state president of a country, although one may wonder about that. We are lucky to see some of the remains of fossils, and it was preserved in places between the rocks or wherever on a planet that itself is millions of years old. Yet they did not coexist with the life that God created, as described in Genesis. God created a new earth, as he promised to do again after this one implodes, or whatever is going to be happening with it. Creation. In the beginning there was God, and around him was the spiritual realm, spirits and the souls of those who will incarnate the bodies to come. God had a special life for planet Earth. May we call it his pet project. Planet Earth, the sun, the moon, and the stars already existed as part of the universe, the heavens, created in the beginning. But planet Earth was a rather dark ball, rotating in its orbit after its last life was destroyed probably with water. If you look at Earth from a geological and an archaeological perspective, and you examine some of the diggings we do, you will see watermarks and a lot of evidence of water everywhere on Earth. As the surface of Earth was covered with water and the atmosphere around it rather dense with water, it blocked the sun out. It was wild and besides from water, empty, dark, and sort of lifeless. When reading Genesis, it suggests clearly that God had the beings of the spiritual realm around him. He spoke to them. He said, "Let us." So as soon as the water was gone, you could see the light of day and the darkness of night, as the planet still rotates around its own invisible axle and around the sun ever since it started or began. But now, at least, you could see around you. You could see day and night. One could enjoy the sunshine by day and see the moon and the stars of the neighboring planets, stars and moon in the darkness of the night. But there was still water over the surface of the earth, and that was when God designed the landscapes that rises above the water, shaping seas and lands and islands, continents, mountains, rivers, lakes, and all these spectacular and unbelievably scenic places that discern Earth from other planets. I can just imagine that some of the creative souls waiting there in eternity got very excited by now when seeing what God has done so far. And as they were bound to visit Earth in bodies from time to time, he probably smiled and said, "Do you want to help, guys? I know what I need to fill the space here with, but do you want to try your hand on sculpting or creating some of the stuff?" And a lot of them probably said yes. So he supplied them with hands. And then God said, "Okay, guys, you know what was there before." He lifted a hand, and there it was, greens and leaves of all sorts. I need a lot of that, a variety, vegetation, but use your imagination and design a few new things as well, please. Use your fruitful imagination, because soon you will eat some of it as well. He left them a mountain of raw material. So yes, they used the grasses, old and new, all kinds of vegetation, seed-bearing plants, fruit trees and shade trees. Oh, and the flowers and everything they imagined, they painted and they went wild with it. The sky was the limit. Whatever they used, rooted and grown, watered by a natural irrigation system called rain. It was not the Chelsea Garden and Flower Show. Nope, it was God's botanical and spectacular vegetation forever gardens. "You can't write that, Ariana," Lugano warns when he looks over my shoulder. "Go away, Lugano. I'm on a roll now. I'm using my imagination." At that stage, all the spirits and soul was at God's disposal, and he said more than once, let us do this, or let us do that. I mean the souls of Salvador Dali, Leonardo da Vinci, Gaudi, and many more already existed in his spiritual realm. You are on your own there, Ariana. You know you're not writing the truth, the whole truth there. Okay, but leave me. I'm going on with my story. So I wrote, on the 5th day, God came with his endless list, sketches and specifications of birds and fishes. He supplied a huge pile of mud, and that they could use to convert into animals. When Lugano turns his back, I add, by his artists. Can you imagine how much fun it was for all the creative spirits to sculpt all that different things living in the air and water onto which God blown life all by himself? Birds, fishes, reptiles, insects and bugs. Some came with the most far-fetched ideas and craziest designs, and it was chapped with handmade by God. Original stuff, each very specific in its own kind, and God gave them the ability to breed with its own. It is true that some of the fish and reptile species slipped through from previous creations. They could survive in planet water or on some of the highest mountains, so they were probably a little older, but yet they were also used in this creation. On day 6, the mammals of the earth were created, also from that huge heap of mud, by all God's spirit artists. And in the meantime, God himself made the first man in his Son and himself, the image of God, from mud. Adam was the first man, Homo sapien, from flesh and blood. And when God saw the guy looked a little bit lonely because all the other animals had partners, he put Adam asleep and created Eve from one of Adam's ribs. And then God rested. That was day 7. Any more questions? No more questions. So I rest my case. Send. Lugano is back. He does that brow thing again. Are you going to use this on your blog, Ariana? I already posted it. Oh, trouble. Big trouble, Ariana. I know you wish you could have been part of God's creation process, a soul with hands that could sculpt some of his stuff. But you know, and I know, that he actually did all of that on his own in one day, as he is capable of that. One entity capable of creating such immense diversity. I know, Lugano. Relax. So retract your story, Ariana. Nope. This is Ariana's creation theory, and it's already sent. Sorry, Lugano.